right, this is Geometry Chapter 13, Lesson 6 on page 561. All right, so this lesson is about 3 discoveries, actually really 1 discovery that Napoleon made in relation to inscribing, finding the center of a triangle, and how other triangles relate to it. And so from that 1 discovery, there have been 2 other observations made. But when we look at the homework really covers nothing new. The homework really covers what you've learned in lessons 1 through 5. All right? So if you look at the image on page 561, and if you start with the yellow triangle, okay, and make that yellow triangle an equilateral triangle. So if the triangle in the middle is equilateral, and that's what you begin with. All right? And then if you, on each side of the triangle, graph equilateral or construct equilateral triangles. So let's say we graph equilateral triangles on each side so that those are also all equilateral. Well, what's interesting is then the original triangle is inscribed. We now have a new equilateral triangle that is circumscribed about it, right? And what is the center of a triangle called? It's when we looked at turtles. What is it? The not the incenter. It was the centroid. The centroid is the center of a triangle. So if we found the centroid, I'll use a different color, of every one of these new triangles, then the center of the new triangles, if I draw lines, makes another equilateral triangle. That's his discovery. And then from that, look on the next page, there are 2 other diagrams. So Napoleon started with an equilateral triangle. Well, then others came and said, what if the original triangle is not an equilateral triangle? What if the original triangle is any triangle, right? That's maybe not equilateral. What if we took, say, an obtuse triangle? And if we then constructed equilateral triangles on each side of this random obtuse triangle, and what if we found the centroid for these random, well, these equilateral triangles, say if we found the centroid on those, guess what happens when we draw this triangle? It's equilateral. It's always equilateral. Okay, well, that's interesting. But let's suppose instead of leaving these equilateral triangles out, let's say we fold them on the original one. and drew a triangle from their centroids. That's the third one. Then you'd have an equilateral triangle inscribed inside the original triangle. Does that make sense?